That's quite an impressive bow you have there. Just like Diana's.
I hope you're coping. Salve.
Come and join me by the fire. Welcome. I was indeed, but we've never met before, have we? I'm sure I would have remembered. Blessed Lissa, am I losing my memory? Oh, that's a relief. For a moment, I thought it was I who was touched by madness. Ha! If I did. I enjoyed our chat. Ah, you've returned.
Stop! Do not come any closer. Who are you? I am Kabash. And let me guess, another Greek or Roman come to loot and plunder the resting place of my ancestors, To what end? That is welcome news. You really are not Greek or Roman, are you? I was planning to return it myself, but for now, I must remain. Here, take it, and restore the honor of Osiris. Now, as for the other plaque. Indeed, I have it right here. I stumbled across a collection of dusty curiosities while searching for a place to hide from the hungry children of Amit, and there it was. You may not. In fact, I am about to destroy it. Because it speaks a treacherous, blasphemous lie. I will tell you, but first, do you know what this place is? It has a name, and that is the Duat. See what has become of it. I have been down here for weeks, piecing together its story, and here is what I have learned. As Egypt declined and the Greeks had their turn to flourish, their souls came here in great numbers. But instead of adopting our ways, they copied and corrupted them. When they found the obelisk bearing the name Osiris, the true god of the underworld, they desecrated it, removing his name and replacing it with Hades. Even the ferryman of the dead, known to my people long before as Kerti, they renamed to Keron. As if that desecration was not enough, they built over this place, using it as the foundation for their own underworld, so that ours was forgotten. My only solace is that the Greeks then suffered the same fate when the Romans rose to power, renaming Hades to Pluto, and the cycle began anew. I am glad to hear it, which brings me to this other, fourth plaque. It is inscribed with a script I do not recognize, but it is ancient, almost as if it is older than the plaque bearing Osiris's name. But if that is so, it would imply the gods of Egypt are mere imitations too, copied and corrupted from an ancient people who prospered even before us, and that my people did to them what the Greeks and Romans did to us. But this, I cannot accept. I sense a deception. Perhaps it is the work of Set, the usurper, seeking to undermine Osiris once more. You must think me a fool. This work of sacrilege must be destroyed, thrown into the black abyss below in Osiris's name. You are too late. It is done. It could not have gone any other way. It was Osiris's will. Now, the thing of evil you sought is gone. Why are you still here? I am from Rakotis, which you may know as Alexandria, the name of the city the Greeks built over it. I was a fisherman, like my father before me. Since the Romans had taken over from the Greeks, I took the opportunity to learn Latin and eventually traveled to Rome. When the fires broke out last year, I tried to help, I gathered terrified locals into my boat and led many of them to safety farther along the Tiber. On my 7th trip, a passenger demanded I wait for his brother. But we were full to almost sinking, and smoke was all around us. I told him his brother would have to save himself, and he tried to bribe me by placing a coin into my hand. When I refused, he drew a dagger and thrust it between my ribs. I awoke on the banks of the river to a stranger wearing a ram headdress. He said his name was Kirti, and at the time, I simply thought him odd. It did not dawn on me until much later that he was the Kirti, the ram-headed ferryman described in the Book of the Dead. This is where I belong, as caretaker of the memories of my people. If our ways are to be remembered, it falls to me. I think if someone is to break the golden rule, it will not be me, for I try to live as I always have by the command of the goddess Ma'at. Do to the doer to make him do. As for the punishment that will come from it, I finally understand why it has long been said among my people that gold is the skin of the gods. I do not know. What could possibly lie beneath the underworld? Perhaps it is infinite darkness. Perhaps it is the lair of Amit, the devourer of souls. All I know is, it would be unwise to venture down there. Most unwise. Good. Be gone from this place. Wait. You are planning to go down there. I see it in your eyes. You would plunge into the depths of the Duat with no way back up. Madness. We shall see. You are still here. You are still here. When I told you that you would not find a way back up, that was not a prediction. That was a promise. You will die here. I disagree. I warned you against coming down here, against perpetuating this sacrilege, but you persisted. You have undermined and dishonored the true God of the underworld. How did you think this would end, if not with bloodshed? Very well, I will listen. But if I sense deception, or if you further insult my gods, I will carry out my threat. So tell me, why should I let you live after you salvaged this instrument of blasphemy? Then you admit it. You wish to destroy the sacred beliefs of my people. I will not allow this. Many of my ancestors endured great hardship to live good lives so that we may descend to the Duat in death and be judged accordingly. We prepare to have our hearts weighed on Anubis' scales and to swear ourselves innocent of sin before the 42 assessors of Ma'at. And yet, I arrive here to find the Book of the Dead contained only a seed of truth. And now, I ask myself, did our priests steal and embellish the stories of an older people and feed us lies all our lives simply to trick us into obedience? I am not sure I follow. Speak plainly. Perhaps there is some truth in that. What is your point? You are persuasive. Very well. I will let you live, and you may do what you will with that plaque. I will remain here for a while, and attempt to learn what I can about the foundations of my people's beliefs. Go.
Ah, you've returned. Good to see you again, friend. Did you find what you need? Did we not discuss it at length already? I enjoyed our chat.
I hope you're coping.
Citizen.
Who are you? Did he send you? Do you know you're here? You have to help me escape before that monster comes back. I'm Scintilla. I found a way out through the Gate of Horn, but it's locked. So I told him about it, and instead of helping me escape, he locked me up. He wants to keep us all here forever, or until we're turned to gold. He's a monster. You have to let me go so we can kill him and take his key. Behind me, there's an aqueduct tunnel bringing water from outside the city, so it should lead us outside. The only problem is it's barred by a heavy locked gate, and he has the only key. Sentius, my adoptive father. Furies help me. I'll castrate and crucify him. I don't know. He said the gods are on his side because they don't want us to escape either. I'm going to take that key from around his neck, even if it means cutting his throat to get it. I'm done caring about the golden rule. I just want out. Help me, and we can escape together. There won't be enough time. Just you and me. What do you say? There's no time. Wait, did you hear that? He's here. Quick, you have to let me go. It's now or never. What? No, you can't just leave me here. How can you be so heartless? I hate you. I spit on you. I hope Dis drags you to Tartarus.
hope you're taking care of yourself.
And here you are. Allow me to introduce myself. As you have already gathered, I've been known by many names. Nergal to the Sumerians, Osiris to the Egyptians, Hades to the Greeks, and Pluto to the Romans. But the one constant through it all has been my title, God of the Underworld. And I've been watching you with curiosity, mortal, ever since your arrival. You're unlike the others, aren't you? And what is more, you carry a weapon that was never intended for mortals to wield, and you do it so brazenly. But there will be time for your reckoning later. First, as a reward for undoing the desecration of my obelisk, I will allow you to satisfy your curiosity. Ask what you will. My story is many thousands of years long. You will need to be more specific. What do you wish to know? It is a matter of perspective. God is a label I was given by mortals, not one I gave myself. Your ancestors revered me because to them, my knowledge and technology made me incomprehensibly powerful, just as you might seem so to an insect. But despite all that, there are rules even I must obey. This is my beloved. Like me, she has been known by many names. Ereshkigal to the Sumerians, Isis to the Egyptians, Persephone to the Greeks, and Proserpina to the Romans. Or perhaps you might know her as the goddess of springtime, the cycle of life and renewal. Your gaze lingers too long. That is my servant. You would have met by the river, though she wears many faces and goes by many names. Kumu-Tabal to the Sumerians, Kirti to the Egyptians, Charon to the Greeks, and Charon to the Romans. Her role is to ferry souls between the mortal world and this one, and to make their transition as seamless as possible. For that, she earned herself the infamous, if erroneous, moniker, the Ferryman. You will talk more later. For now, ask your questions. My kin and I all adopted this form long ago, so that we might better understand and communicate with your kind. In time, we grew fond of the sensory delights it affords: desire, joy, ecstasy, even rage and sorrow, while an acquired taste can be addictive. No. Long ago I swore to Proserpina that I would remain in this form for as long as we remained among your kind. I must honor that. As you wish. It has come to be known simply as the Underworld, and it exists because of a wager I made long ago. That is a long story. One that began over 3,000 years ago and continues to this day. You see, long ago my kin and I set out from our home on Elysium to search for other forms of life among the stars. We discovered your planet and witnessed your kind evolving from primates into something lawless and barbaric. You all but destroyed yourselves, your 2 short lives being extinguished by violence and ignorance and disease. Yet Proserpina saw raw potential and persuaded the rest of us it would be squandered without our intervention and stewardship. So we revealed ourselves to your people in a place called Sumer. We offered guidance in agriculture, toolcraft, and law, and you called us gods. For a time you flourished, but soon you were too many for us to oversee. And as you spread from that cradle of civilization, we saw something disturbing. We had sown the seeds of dependency and confusion, and soon you returned to your old ways of violence and ignorance, this time in our name. My kin had seen enough, and gave up on your kind, condemning you as barbaric and chaotic, scarcely more than animals. We began preparations to return to Elysium, our home world, a utopia unspoilt by conflict and unimaginable in its beauty. But my Proserpina could not bear to abandon your kind without guidance, and knowing it would force the rest of us to leave her behind, she made an extraordinary sacrifice. She gave up her immortality to descend permanently to the ranks of humankind, and so she began her inescapable trajectory toward death. Horrified, I acted swiftly. I placed her in suspended animation, in a deep frozen sleep, to prevent age and sickness from claiming her. And then I pleaded with Proserpina's father, who the Romans called Jupiter, to bring her with us to Elysium. It was and is my hope that once there, we might one day learn to undo what she has done to herself. But he refused. I did everything I could to persuade him, but he would not relent. He would rigidly uphold his final pronouncement. Humans were unworthy of ascension to Elysium, and no exceptions would be made. But seeing that I was aggrieved, he proposed a wager, the terms of which were as follows. If even one human city could prove itself capable of living without sin for a single year, then Proserpina and all of humanity would be permitted to join us in Elysium. My part would be to remain behind, the last of my kind, to watch over you, without interfering, and to sit in silent judgment. And so my reward has been to languish here, enduring a 3,000-year winter, waiting for the day your kind proves itself worthy of her faith in you, so that I might take her with me to Elysium and unthaw my goddess of springtime. And here I am, after all this time, still waiting. There were also gods who, like me, have been known by many names, but perhaps you knew them by their Roman names. Our leader, Jupiter, as well as Neptune, Saturn, Juno, Minerva, Mars, Venus, Apollo, Diana, Vulcan, Vesta, Ceres, and of course, my beloved Proserpina. As the first wave of your kind arrived from Sumer, I had them build a city in their own fashion, so that they might be comfortable and recreate their lives here. I had them build the entrance as a vertical shaft leading to baths, to cleanse them of the sins of their former lives, and to prevent escape. I watched wave after wave of Sumerians arrive, and as their civilization declined over the centuries, they were replaced by Egyptians. Of course, believing themselves to be the superior civilization, the Egyptians promptly built over what had been built before, and made all the same mistakes. After another 1,000 years, the Greeks began to arrive, and then the Romans, and they all did the same thing. They built upon the underworlds of their predecessors, renamed their gods, and ensured their foundations were forgotten. To ensure the wager was fair, it was important that my subjects were chosen at random. To this end, I had my servant distribute 1,000 tokens fashioned from the silver, a rare element at the time, across all of Sumer. Whoever died while in possession of one of them would be located by my servant and ferried to this place, with no memory of how they arrived. As the tokens were discovered, they were traded, smelted, and fashioned into trinkets, and eventually coins, spreading to Egypt like seeds on the wind. Later, when they spread to Greece, they would come to be known as Charon's obol, or as coins for the pharaoh. Some placed coins in the mouths of their dead, hoping they would awaken here, though they had no way of knowing which coins were fashioned from the original tokens. In fact, Almost all of the tokens are accounted for. Only 2 remain. And so after this wave destroys itself, as it is destined to do, your kind would have squandered the last of its potential to ascend beyond this rock, and Persepolis along with it. It is a regrettable story. One of the first men who came to this place was a king of Sumer, and a troublemaker. To be rid of him, I returned him to his people, on the condition that my servant erased his memories of this place. But the erasure did not take completely, and he told stories of this place as if describing memories of a dream. His tales were committed to writing, which came to be known as the Epic of Gilgamesh, and his words were twisted and distorted over generations. Later, the Egyptians would adapt Sumer's stories of the underworld, making them wildly intricate and labyrinthine. Their Book of the Dead and Book of Gates bore less and less resemblance to this place in their priests' pursuit of profit. Then, when the Greeks began to arrive, they proved far more cunning. And in a series of incidents that will not be repeated, 5 of them escaped. A warrior named Heracles, 2 kings named Sisyphus and Theseus, a poet named Orpheus, and a Trojan named Aeneas. They each told embellished tales of this place, how to get here, and how to escape. And so from Sumer to Egypt, Greece to Rome, your kind has always told each other stories about this place, though each story contained only a seed of truth. Of course. That is merely the name your people have given to it, but yes, it is my doing. That is a story dating back to the very first wave. After the Sumerians finished building their city, the self-declared ruler threw a banquet to celebrate. Now this man was unmarried, and many women were vying to become his wife. Prestigious position of power and influence in a new world. Of all the women, 2 were particularly ambitious. Both were beautiful, and both arrived at the banquet wearing eye-catching dresses and painted faces, their hair woven in elaborate fashion. The first woman, recognizing that she would require an advantage to win the ruler's affection, draped herself in jewelry, ornate necklaces, bracelets, and rings fashioned from gold. Seeing this ostentatious display, the second woman grew envious, for she had no such jewelry at her disposal. She prayed aloud to any gods that would listen to cover her in gold, and when her prayer went unanswered, she took matters into her own hands. While the others indulged at the banquet, the second woman summoned the first for a discussion in a quiet place. She checked that nobody was watching, and pushed her rival from the top of the ziggurat where she broke her neck on the rocks below. But I was watching, and I decided to answer her prayer. I took the golden bow left behind by Diana, and I shot that woman in the heart, covering her from head to toe in a layer of molten gold. And I left her to stand there, that she might serve as a grim reminder of what befalls those who sin in my domain. But that was not enough, for the entire city was tainted by her sin, and the wager could no longer be won. So I had no choice but to wipe the slate clean. I gilded them all, to make way for a new wave, and began the wager again. And to this day, each of them, and all who came after, line the halls of this city, inanimate but conscious, suspended in time with only their sight and hearing preserved, so they may bear witness to and lament the folly of your kind for eternity, their silent golden sentiments. When my kin departed, they left behind many relics which I inherited. consolation prize of sorts. The golden bow originally belonged to one of my kin, who the Romans called Diana. As my collection of golden statues grew, I chose the most ferocious among them, and equipped them each with a duplicate of her bow, and tasked them with hunting down the Forsaken at my behest. They became known simply as Furies. I am able to commune with all of the statues in the city. Their ears are my ears, and their eyes are my eyes. If she was still conscious, I suppose she could, but she's not. Why do you ask? Then what an odd question. I've always considered that the cornerstone of morality is the ability to determine right from wrong on one's own. No attempt to lay out rules like your Code of Hammurabi or your 12 Tables of the Roman Republic can ever cover all possible scenarios. This should come as no surprise to you, since the core principle has been expressed in many forms by many of your civilizations. The Egyptians made a rudimentary attempt with do to the doer to make him do. The Greeks refined it with avoid doing what you would blame others for doing. The Roman Stoics added, treat your inferior as you would wish your superior to treat you. Even the so-called cultists hiding among you often say, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. It is the simplest of concepts, and each one of you is born with the faculties required to apply it to any situation. Yet none of the peoples who expressed this rule were able to uphold it. Curious, is it not? For you, perhaps. Do you plan to speak in sweeping generalizations, or are you going to give me an example? Ah, the tavern keeper, yes. How is that inconsistent with the rule? I disagree. Having watched that tavern keeper, that is precisely what she would expect from others. She would view it as a game, one she intends to win. Supposing you're right, then my law has been broken, and I should turn you all to gold immediately. Is that what you want? Now tell me, what other sins do you believe I have overlooked? Very well. I give your kind a second chance at life, as well as ample warning about my law. And when you disobey, and you always disobey, you force my hand, bringing terrible suffering upon yourselves. And so you ask if I am the one destroying your lives. And I say, no, you destroy yourselves. I am merely the means by which you do it. Very well. Good. Then now it is time for your reckoning. Only, it seems, something is wrong. It has long been within my power to see into the hearts of mortals and weigh their deeds in life. But when I peer into you, I see only a blank slate, as if you did not exist until you appeared in this city. How is this possible? Carol, where did you find this one?
I do not remember ferrying you. How did you come here? If that is true, then I sense the intervention of someone powerful.
How did you come to be in this time, mortal? Who brought you here?
He cannot know.
I do not know. My kin departed long ago, and Proserpina has slumbered for 3,000 years. Tread lightly, mortal. Enough of this. It seems I will need to put your reckoning on hold for now. But answer this. Why have you come here? What is it you seek? Your hubris is amusing, so I will allow you to make your case. But I warn you, if you anger me or waste my time with lies or wrong-headed arguments, you face death here. So, tell me, why should I put an end to the so-called Golden Rule? How so? And be specific. You have made a grave allegation, and I expect you to back it up. His cruelty does seem to grow greater by the day. True, I have witnessed him doing that. I admit, I have grown disturbed watching them. He is a volatile and confused fellow, that one. If you're right, my involvement has corrupted the very thing I sought to observe impartially. But if I were to accept that, are you telling me these humans could coexist peacefully, without theft or violence, without my law? You are either deluded or a liar. You will make a fine statue. Do you really think you can wound me, a god, with that primitive weapon? Pathetic.
The
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one. And here you are. Allow me to no go, but the one, and I've been, and what is that there will be time first. That is merely the name your people. That is a story. Now, all their head draped herself. See, she checked, but I took, and I left, but that, so, and to the suspense. I've always considered that the cornerstone of war, no attempt, this should come. The Egyptians, the Greeks, the Romans, even the, it is the, yet. I'm able to commune with her. If she was still. Then what an odd. When my kin did the good as my. I give your kind a second chance, and when you disobey, and you all, and so you are, you destroy. Do you plan to speak in? Ah, the tavern. I disagree, having watched them. Supposing you're right, and my law has been broken. Now tell me. The merchant. How is that inconsistent with the rule I've outlined? I disagree. Having watched this merchant, that is precisely what he would expect from others, and he would be quite capable of paying the price anyway. Now tell me. Very well. It has come to. That is a use you yet for it. But they will as the first to ensure the your kind. To ensure the wager was fair, it was to this end whoever died as the tokens would later when some placed coins in the mouths of. In fact, almost all of the token your kind will. It is to be later than what they eat, and so. Of course, my story. It is a matter of perspective. You're a despot. My kin and I. No. This is like me. She has been known by, or perhaps, your gaze. That is my servant. You Kumut. But you will talk more later. As you... Good. Then now it is time for your reckoning. Only, it is long, and Charon, where did you...
If that is...
How did you come to be in this town?
We cannot know.
I do not know. Tread lightly. Enough of this. It seems I will need... Why have you... If you anger me, so tell me. How so? And be specific. His cruelty... I admit. True. He is a If you're right, my involvement... But if I were to accept that, are you telling me... How so? And how is that working for you? So you say, and yet your world is still imperfect. You have spoken eloquently, and yet, if what you say is true, it follows that my wager was fatally flawed from the beginning. But that would mean Jupiter, Proserpina's father, who knew more about you than anyone, proposed a wager I could never win. Why would he do that? Perhaps, and if that was so, surely I would have sensed his deception. How could I have been so blind for so long? Your words sting me, mortal. Perhaps it is what I deserve. As difficult as this is to admit, I have suspected as much for a long time now. And I cannot deny it any longer. I've been so fixated on taking my beloved to Elysium that every time one of you sinned, it wore away my hope of being with her again. In time, I began to despise your kind for making her believe that you could ever be better than you are. But my rage was not born of malice, quite the opposite. Everything I have done, I did because I loved her. Who knew this empathy of yours, which you celebrate so much, could have such a dark underside? This has gone on too long. It is time for me to let go of this form, of her, of all of you. But know this. If I abandon the wager and leave for Elysium, neither she nor your kind may ever ascend. Very well. I will have Charon make arrangements to ferry the others. But as for you, be aware you will be separated from the rest. Once this exodus begins, the events that brought you to this moment will never have taken place, and you will have created a paradox. What will become of you is difficult to predict, but that is the risk you have taken by interfering in the natural flow of time. Now, are you ready? Farewell, mortal.
Oh! Hi there. Gave me a bit of a fright. Thought I was in here alone. I'm Al. Well, here I am. I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name. Oh, did that lady in the forest send you in here after me? I guess I lost track of time, learning about the history of this place, and it is extraordinary. I'm fairly certain you and I are the first people to set foot in this city for about 2,000 years. Fortunately for us, the last person in here was a Roman man named Galerius, who inscribed an account into a tablet. Apparently, there was a community of 20-something people trapped in here, and living in fear of a curse they called the Golden Rule. They believed that if even one person sinned, an unknown god would cast them all into gold, like the 1,000 people who'd lived here before them. Then, one day, just as Galerius had finished praying for a good harvest at the shrine of Proserpina, an oracle appeared and told him how to solve the ills of the city, like saving the life of a dying woman, preventing the suicide of a man in debt bondage, freeing a falsely accused prisoner, foiling an assassination attempt, and so on. Meanwhile, the oracle walked up to the temple of the mysterious god, this one right here, and demanded an audience, and the doors just opened up to him. Nobody knows what went on in there, but Galerius wrote the oracle must have been more persuasive than Odysseus, because the next thing he knew, the ground shook and the voice of that god rang out over the city. The many have suffered long enough. Unfortunately, Galerius' account just sort of stops after that, leaving a lot of questions unanswered. What became of him and the other people who lived here? What happened to all the golden statues? And did this mysterious oracle single-handedly undo the curse that had terrorized people for hundreds of years? What? Oh, I see. For a moment there, I thought you were serious. Anyway, I think I found a way out through the aqueduct that brought water into the city. Follow me. I'm gonna pause here for a moment and make sure nobody else has ever lured into this temple. You go on ahead, and I'll be there soon.
You're back! But you're alone. Does that mean you didn't find Al? Oh, what a relief. Thank you so much. I was beginning to think you'd both become trapped in there. Why don't you tell me what you discovered while we wait?
Ah, I see. I thought you might. Well, now you know. I suppose you have questions. You can just call me Charon, if you like. I am sorry I was not completely honest with you when we first met. I do not enjoy deceiving people. Believe me, I do not. But I have learned, from 5,000 years of experience, that most people find comfort in familiarity, in gradual change, and coming to see the truth in their own time. That you died, of course. You were dead when I brought you here. My role, as the servant of the god of the underworld, has always been to assist the chosen to cross the threshold from the land of the living to the land of the dead. Usually, when people do not remember how they died, it is because they suffered a terrible trauma. Most souls would rather not remember. Ask yourself honestly, do you really want to know? As you wish. You were murdered. You made a purchase in a marketplace, and you were seen inspecting it. The shopkeeper who had given you the coin saw this. You both fought bravely. There was nothing you or he died instantly at the scene. That man's name was. You were each in possession of a sacred coin. It means I am now bereft of purpose. There is nobody else to ferry here. Nobody to keep you company. After 5,000 years, the underworld has finally run its course. I see no point in keeping you here. But I have to ask one thing. That you keep this to yourself.
Look! Here comes Al now. Al! It's so good to see you. You were gone so long I thought I'd never see you again.
Kinda lost track of time in there. You wouldn't believe what we found. The ruins of a long-forgotten city. And there was a tablet describing an oracle who confronted a god and undid an ancient curse.
Sounds like quite a story. And I look forward to hearing all about it. But you two look exhausted. Why don't you hop in my boat and rest while I ferry you back to civilization?
Sounds good to me.
And you? Are you ready to go home?
Hey, you made it. It's great to see you again. After everything you've been through, I thought you might appreciate some good news. So after we got back to the real world, I started doing some research into the people mentioned in Galerius' tablet, and I found something strange. I'm sorry I've been so cryptic. I've been dying to tell you, I just really wanted you to see this for yourself. Why don't you head on down there? I'll catch up with you at the other end.
You're finally here. Remember me? It's a crazy story. After you disappeared, Charon appeared and told us she was returning us to the world. Even gave us some coins to help us start our lives over. Only, for some reason, she returned us to your world instead of ours. Anyway, I know we only ever had that one conversation, and I wasn't even sure if you'd remember me, but I wanted to say thanks for freeing us from the underworld and giving us a second chance at life. Oh, I used Charon's gift to buy a farm in Umbria. Got a villa on it too, with enough room for Dooley, of course. It's hard work, but I sleep soundly every night. I'm finally my own man, and I wouldn't change it for the world. I know! I can't believe my luck either. But we're engaged and living together. We're planning to get married next spring. If you're going to be around, we'd love to see you there. Of course, there's a whole museum full of people waiting for a chance to thank you, so you better keep moving. We'll speak again soon, my friend.
Oh, hello.
You're here. It's lovely to finally meet you. Galerius told me all about you. So, you're the hero who somehow vanquished the last of the Roman gods. As I'm a priestess, you realize you've put me out of work. I'm just teasing. Actually, and it still feels a little sacrilegious to say this, I'm finding life after religion quite enjoyable. Galerius and I are engaged and expecting. We've just bought a lovely villa in the countryside with room for a large family, and Dooley too, of course. It feels like the world has just opened up for us. There's so much to learn, and so many more possibilities for our children than we ever imagined. We're just so thankful for what you did for us, for all of us. Oh, it's sweet of you to ask. She recovered nicely. In fact, she's here somewhere, if you'd like to ask her yourself. See you at the wedding, I hope.
There he is!
Hello, I'm Dooley. Galerius said you're very nice and a big helper. Thank you for getting us out of the bad place. I didn't like it. I live at Galerius and Equitia's house. They look after me now and help me remember when I forget things, like brushing my teeth. Treasure? Oh, I forgot about that. I like my box now. Galerius got me a box that tells stories. It's my favourite thing. Yeah, they're fun. Bye-bye.
It's you.
Evening. Hi there, I'm Horatius. I understand we have you to thank for giving us a second chance at life, and reuniting Scintilla with us as well. So, thank you. I'm living up north and studying in the military academy in Modena. I'm going to be an officer one day. The world's changed a lot, but some things stay the same. Would you believe we're still studying military tactics from my time? Alexander the Great, Caesar, Hannibal Barca. Still, I have to keep challenging myself to let go of old ways of thinking and embrace the new. As Seneca wrote, the ones who pioneered our paths aren't our masters, but our guides.
Ah, you remembered that. Thank you. I grieved for a time, but that's done. In the words of Epictetus, as those who rode behind triumphant generals remind them they are mortal, remind yourself your precious one isn't one of your possessions, but something given for now, not forever. Thanks. He's not my... Oh, I see what you did there. Good one. He had more trouble adapting than most. He got himself disqualified from the UFC, so he started some kind of underground blood sport tournament, like we had in Rome. Suppose it appealed to people's baser instincts. And they say he made some good coin, killing a bunch of men like that. But his luck finally ran out, and his life along with it. You know what they say. Live by the sword, die by the sword. Perhaps. And you. Farewell.
You're the Oracle, right? Oh, of course, sorry. And I never got a chance to thank you for telling Galerius how to save my life. And of course, getting me and all of us out of a terrible situation. Oh, I barely recognize myself. I'm living in a house share in London with my wonderful girlfriend. And I'm studying English at university. Eventually, I want to travel the world and write about it. Turns out, it's about 30 times bigger than the Roman Empire ever was. Did you know there are entire continents Rome never knew existed? And you can travel almost anywhere in an aircraft, which is rather like flying on a Pegasus, but much more comfortable. Oh, sorry, you already know all that, of course. I'm just so excited. There's so much to see and learn and write about. I have noticed people from your time have no idea how fortunate they are. I hope to change that. One day. Last I heard, Malleolus kept insisting he was the last rightful ruler of the Roman Empire, and wound up being committed to a psychiatric hospital. As for Claudia, she was always so viciously unhappy. Someone said she'd blown all her money on wine, trying to drink herself back to the underworld. After the horrific way they treated Ulpius and me, I can't help feeling a sense of... what's that German word? Schadenfreude? Thank you. You're very kind. Ugh, someone told me she was boasting about getting her claws into some rich prince, and how she was going to be living the high life from now on. Even in your time, life still isn't fair. Apparently, he'd proposed before they'd even met. And last I heard, she'd bought herself a first-class one-way ticket to join him in some exotic place called... what was it? Nigeria? Some people have all the luck. Well, you are the Oracle. So I suppose I'll take your word for it. Huh. I feel better already. Thank you. You too! If you're ever in London, let me know. We can go to bars and drink wine and listen to the stories of the 9 million people who live there. I hope so.
You are here. It's nice to finally meet you. Lucy is fine. I'm making an effort to blend in, as you can see. We are all trying to keep a low profile. If the world knew we died 2,000 years ago and were suddenly brought back to life 12 months ago, they'd never leave us alone. Speaking of which, I wanted to say thank you in person. I'd say the gods smile on you, but I hear you drove the last of them off. So... I'm studying to get into medical school. As much as I resented the responsibility of keeping everyone in the city alive, when it ended, I realized I missed it. So I guess I'll just keep saving the world, if begrudgingly, one patient at a time. You too, don't be a stranger.
Hey. I take it you're the Oracle. Thanks for coming. Actually, I changed my name to Cynthia. I didn't want to be associated with Sentius after what happened. I'm not sure if you heard, but after you drove Pluto off, Proserpina emerged from the Great Temple. She knew right away what none of us had figured out about that psychopath. He'd been keeping my little sister locked up in the upper cistern all that time. But he's been dealt with. You know what? The important thing is, we'll never see him again. Anything I want. I'm a woman of means in a vast new world. I can go wherever and do whatever I please. Of course, I mostly just stay in my villa and have my servant Alexa summon things for me, because it's just awful out there. Barbarians everywhere. He's still there, all alone. The last golden statue in the underworld. Trapped in a metal shell, slowly losing his mind until the end of time. Eternal torment. Just what he deserves, if you ask me. You too. See you around.
Greetings. You must be the legendary Oracle. It is a sincere privilege to finally make your acquaintance. I am Georgius. I am told we have you to thank for freeing us from Hades, and for that, I am most grateful. I am reacquainting myself with Greece. It has changed so much over the last 2,000 years, I barely recognize it. This is at once heartbreaking and thrilling. Perhaps one day, once I have seen all of this new Greece and sampled her delights, I will settle down in Santorini in a villa overlooking the azure Aegean Sea. I hope you will join me there and regale me with the story of how you faced off against the fearsome god of the underworld and won.
Hello.
You too, my friend.
You're the one we've been waiting for. I'm Fabia. I wanted to say thanks for sending Galerius to save my life. I don't know how you knew, but I would have been crushed by that shrine for sure. I'm just so happy to be here with you and everyone together again, even if it's just for one more night. Well, it's not like I have to work with all the silver Charon gave me, so I just do what makes me happy. Mostly that means baking for my friends and looking at memes while binging TV shows in yoga pants. What a time to be alive. Thank you. I really am. You too.
And here you are. It's wonderful to see you again. Oh, and by the way, I go by Philip now. A fine Greek name. I never thought I'd leave that cave, let alone the city. And now I'm living in the 21st century. What a time to be alive. And it seems I have your catabasis to thank for it. I'm working as a consultant to the Faculty of Classics at Cambridge University, helping fill the odd gap in their knowledge. Not that I need the money, but I do love being around enlightened minds again. Aha! You remember that? I have to admit, I've been profoundly impressed by the advances humans have made these past 2 millennia. The sum total of human knowledge available at our fingertips, miraculous modern medicines, and a series of prosperous democracies. Your contemporaries have come further toward utopia than I ever thought possible, though there's still a way to go. My sincere thanks once again.
Some soiree, innit? Oh, hello at last. You must be the oracle I've heard so much about. I'm Dacius. Listen, I wanted to express my sincere appreciation for what you did. If it wasn't for you, I'd never been able to sell all those useless old relics I accumulated. Whatever you did in that temple made me a very wealthy man. Thank you. Such acerbic wit. I love it. I took the money I made from selling my trinkets and started investing in the stock market. That's where the real money is now. In fact, I was hoping to ask your advice, you being the oracle and future seer and all that, on which stocks I should invest in next. I can't decide between fossil fuels, tobacco, gambling and arms. What would you recommend? Oh, don't be like that. You can tell your old pal Dacius. I won't take no for an answer. Oh, of course, yeah. I was just thinking the same thing. I'll go home and buy up as much stock as I can tonight. I'm going to make a bloody fortune. Of course, don't let me keep you. Thanks again for the tips, my friend.
Good evening.
Oh, hello. It's lovely to meet you. I've heard so much about you. I'm thankful that you're here. I was sure the person who drove off the last pagan god would have more important things to do than visit the likes of us. But thank you for coming and for saving our lives. What you did was extraordinary, and I'll never forget it. I'm living in Rome again, in a charming little flat by the Tiber, not far from my old place. Oh, and I'm training to be a crisis counsellor. After you sent Galerius to persuade Ulpius not to take his own life, I was inspired. I just want to spend the rest of my life helping people, like you helped him. Thank you. And you. Oh, and I hope this isn't too forward, but some of us are going out for a drink after this, if you'd like to join us. Wonderful. I'll see you soon.
Greetings. Thank you for your kind words and for liberating us all. In all the time I was in the underworld, I never once imagined that I might end up in a place so much like Elysium. I'm recovering. Octavia was kind enough to let me stay with her for a while, at least until I'm well enough to be independent again. Ah, you remember that. I'm a little tired of Ovid, but that's all right. I have 2,000 years' worth of poetry to catch up on now. I'm already up to the 19th century, and am quite enjoying the work of a fellow named Poe. I think I may have found a kindred spirit. Men have called me mad, but the question is not yet settled whether madness is or is not the loftiest intelligence. And you, farewell, friend.
What is up? Plundered any more tombs lately, my friend? I must say, I am ashamed of the way I acted when we first met. If I had known you would go on to confront and triumph over the tyrant masquerading as the Lord of Silence, I would never have blocked your passage. You are most gracious. I too would like to offer my thanks for releasing us from that place, and for your role in bringing us here. This world is truly wondrous. For a time, I returned to Alexandria, but they have no need of another fisherman, and I came to see there is nothing for me there. Instead, I have decided to follow the custom of your youths and backpack the world. It is a great adventure, and I have met many people from many cultures. I spent the first 25 years of my life avoiding the 42 sins that would deny me access to the afterlife. Now, I think it is time I had some fun. Indeed. Thank you, Oracle.
We meet again. Oh, I go by Gabriella now. I didn't want to be reminded of that monster every time I heard my own name. And I wanted to say thanks, and no hard feelings, for leaving me in that cistern when you did. I know it must have been a difficult decision, but it was the right one. I'm living with Ulpius on a little vineyard in Umbria.
Hi.
It's even more wonderful than I dreamed it would be. I'm so grateful to you for making sure he's still with us. If you're ever passing through the region, I hope you'll come and visit us. You can try some of our very own wine. Thanks. You too.
It's nice to finally put a face to the name. I'm Ulpius. I understand I have you to thank for sending Galerius to save my life. The way you just showed up out of the blue and stopped me from making a terrible mistake, I'll be forever in your debt. I'm living with Gabriella in Umbria. We finally bought the little vineyard we always dreamed of. It'll be a little while before we know what we're doing, but every day I look at her and this extraordinary new world with all its beauty, and I think, what if I'd given up hope and missed out on all of this? So we're living each day to the fullest. And we end them all the same way, sitting together on our terrace with a glass of our wine, which the locals say is almost drinkable now, and watching the sunset over the rolling hillside. And I couldn't be happier. Thank you. I wouldn't be here without you. You too.
Hello! It's so nice to finally meet you. I've heard so much about you. I wanted to thank you personally for getting us out of there, and for helping Rufus come to terms with himself. He may come off a little gruff, but once you get past that, he's a lovely fellow. I'm studying to be an architect again and living with Rufus in our beautiful flat in Rotterdam, just down the river from Nijmegen, where I grew up. Of course, it's improved immensely since I was there last. Gleaming futuristic buildings and clean streets full of educated, accepting people. You natives of the 21st century have no idea how fortunate you are. You too. If you're ever in the Netherlands, we'd love to show you around. It's the least we could do.
Nice to meet you. I go by Rufus now. New start, new name. Oh, and thanks, by the way, for what you did. Sorry, I'm no good with the mushy stuff. I live with Virgil in Rotterdam, not far from where he grew up. It's very modern. Destroyed in the war, and it rebuilt itself. Good place for a fresh start. Haven't decided what I'm going to do with my life yet. One adjustment at a time. Good to know. Anyway, it was good practice for the new world. Security cameras and smartphones everywhere. Got to stay vigilant. You too. Look us up next time you're in the Netherlands. We're grateful.
There you are. I hope you enjoyed that. Now, there's one more person I wanted to introduce you to. I think you know her.
Sorry if I frightened you. Just a little joke I've been saving for a long, long time. Allow me to introduce myself properly. I am Proserpina, former goddess of the cycle of life and renewal, and now a regular mortal. I wanted to meet you in person, and thank you for freeing all these people, and me. I hate to think what would have happened to us without your intervention. Indeed. Suffice it to say that while Pluto was controlling the eyes and ears of each golden statue, I was able to control their tongues and whisper to you when he was distracted. I am sorry my messages were so cryptic. There were only ever brief windows in which I could speak to you without being detected. I did. I may have given up my immortality, but I still retain my gifts as the goddess of the cycle of life and renewal. After witnessing Pluto punish countless poor souls over thousands of years, I knew this generation, the final wave, would not survive. So I tried to give them a way to buy more time. A second chance. Rather, as many second chances as they needed to avoid his wrath. I don't know what happened to him. I haven't heard from him, and I rather hope it stays that way. Oh, she inherited dominion over the underworld. Last time we spoke, she was working on a new world of some kind. She wouldn't say what it was, but I'd be surprised if you don't run into her again. I imagine we all will, one day. And you, although it feels like I've known you forever. Oh, and one last thing. Do you remember all those golden statues scattered throughout the city? Good, because they remember you. Well done, my friend. Of all the heroes who ever journeyed to the underworld and returned, none came close to achieving what you did. Hercules, Orpheus, Theseus, and Aeneas would be proud.